just give us some examples of the kinds of models that Inroads clients have built, that you guys have helped your clients build, and how these models have helped them achieve their enrollment goals? So you just started touching on this a little bit. Yep. In terms of, based off of score, we're pushing these sorts of marketing messages to this segment versus text messages to this segment. Can you just show us a little bit more about how you guys help clients decide what how they should sort of build models based off of their goals?
Yeah, so one of the ways we get creative with our clients is that when they start to realize that we call it the macro level is more of this our market approach. The granular micro level is the our admit, where you're actually looking at every single student, right? So on a macro level, when we introduce them to the zip code concept of, hey, we can do predictive on zip codes where you would be successful, right? One of the biggest things that we get out of this when we build a model for them, so like we can take into account national population and income and those types of things. We can take into distance from campus. We can take into consideration high schools, and when it comes to non-traditional students, we can take into consideration things like businesses and the types of industries that are in place. So we show them this concept of the R market, and then it's like, okay, now that creative side is, what can we predict this? Can we predict this? And so what happens is, I'm going to toggle this little piece thing right here off. What this is going to show us right here is, these are markets where you have a 95 to 100% probability of producing a student, but you have not produced a single student from these markets in the last 3 to 5 years. This is very powerful, because as you go by you do your name buys, and you really focus in on, I have a 95 to 100% probability of producing a student. I mean, that's a big deal, right? Even just counting these little pegs on the map, I mean, this could be 20, 30 new students, right?
Yeah.
Markets where that didn't exist in history. And I'll prove that point to you. Check this out. I'm going to drill down in, and you're going to see these are all low probability scores. So it's not just the probability score. Like, I would probably not actually really, prospecting Abigail here, because Abigail's at a 36%. But the fact that I know that Abigail's from, let's say it's Crown Point here, I know that Abigail is in that high 90 to 99% probability. That gives you a whole different perspective on what the data looks like, right? So you actually can say, tell you what, give me all the students that we've not produced a student for in the last 3 to 5 years, who are in the 90 to 95, to 100% range, and their probability scores below 50. That's a whole new marketing campaign in and of itself. That you weren't strategic about in history. You actually would have just done that shotgun approach when it comes to your marketing efforts. So that's some of the ways that we build models in order to empower and inform not only your counselors and your directors, but your marketing efforts. And you push that to whether it's internal or external marketing team.
Yeah, and I immediately go to thinking about, sort of, as you've already alluded to, like geofencing campaigns, and also sort of like unpacking the why. Like, hey, if there's this incredible high probability that these particular zip codes will produce qualified students for our institution, and we're not doing that, why is that, right? When's the last time we put together some sort of digital marketing strategy that targeted that specific location? Is it a brand awareness problem, or is it a perception problem? Like, are people aware of our school, but they think it's they think of us and our program offerings like we were 5-10 years ago because of the reputation we have in the community? Or what's sort of the why behind the lack of folks coming from that particular location? So this, to your point, what's exciting about this, and what's exciting about how you guys have built this suite of tools, is it not only helps the admissions folks, it also is very important, helpful information for the marketing folks. And in this world where we're seeing admissions and marketing converge and start to collaborate and work together more than ever before, this particular approach, this particular product is a wonderful asset to help make the marriage of these two historically siloed operations really come together and get a lot of bang for $1. So I appreciate you highlighting that.
Absolutely. And one more thing, just to showcase, to answer your question about different types of models. So whenever you're in charge of data, you can actually run these called a what if scenario. So what you're looking at right here is what we call our opportunities. And we're in that accepted stage. And what I can actually do is, when we pull data out of your financial aid, you know, a student is already packaged, or in this report, these students are already packaged. So I can see that, you know, Miles here is already packaged at 20,000. Verla is packaged at 19, so on and so forth. What I can do in these what if scenarios, I can say, what if I gave an additional $3,000 of financial aid? What would that do to their financial aid? And again, I can actually segment this by department, because maybe you're an engineering school and you want to make sure, we must, from a brand awareness standpoint, make sure that our engineering program is strong year over year at all cost, right? So whatever that may be, but it doesn't have to be at all costs anymore. What it can do is you can actually start doing these differential discounting. So it's not a matter of, you know, let's repackage all of our engineering students who haven't accepted yet, or who haven't paid their matriculation fee yet. Let's actually just do this on an individual basis, and we'll make some phone calls, right? Or I can also say, what if I only gave an additional $2,000? So you're talking about this gap, the gap dollars that you might have to be able to play with. And you can see that, you know, this is not a big change, and there's not a lot of packaging here, but right here, you can see a $2,000 difference made a 35% increase. This is a big deal right here, because you saved money over the previous query, and you've actually made a huge difference in the likelihood that Andrew here is going to move to that next stage of the enrollment funnel. So that's a win for a counselor and a director.